what would be the impact on the Indian economy for the rate cut? Do you think RBI will follow suit and cut their interest rates also? And go on first with that.
First of all, right, things have been very interesting since COVID. Pre-COVID, like everybody moves together up, everybody moves together down. But after COVID, it has become like certain markets are having high inflation, certain markets are having low inflation. In fact, within India as well, there have been pockets of places where the inflation has been very.
Welcome to the new episode. We have a recent topic to discuss. Firstly, we should welcome back Ishan, who's come after 20,000 years into the recording again. I, I, it- I can't even remember when was the last time we all
In a while.
recorded an episode. Been a while, 2, 3 months maybe. So welcome back to Ishan. And of course, Madhvesh is also back after a smaller break. We will be discussing a recent topic which I am sure most of the viewers would have heard of. This is the rate cuts done by the Fed uh, on interest rates. And it's a interesting topic because it doesn't just affect the US market, it affects the global market because US is generally a global economy now. So, ठीक है. Let's start with a very basic question on this. And Madhvesh would be our go-to person because he's read more than me and Ishan on the topic. Madhvesh, what's your thought on actually give me your perspective on the impact the rate cut has had? But also before that, start with giving few details on uh, what does the Fed do, how much was the rate cut, and what impact does any rate cut have on a global scale, especially from US?
So, पहले बात तो यही है कि Fed Bank तो is basically like the RBI of India, who is the main policy maker of US finance. And they are basically like throttle system. They make sure the economy में कितना पैसा रहना चाहिए नहीं रहना चाहिए. And the lever that they use to do that is the rate cuts, one of the main levers. Of course, there are other things that they can do in terms of policy. एंड जब इकोनॉमी में पैसा बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, तब रेट बढ़ा देते हैं सो दैट लेंडिंग कॉस्ट इंक्रीजेस सो दैट पीपल डोंट मोर मनी एंड जब पैसा बहुत कम है तब रेट को कम कर देते हैं सो दैट पीपल कैन एक्सेस मोर मनी, द इकोनॉमी कैन एक्सेस मोर मनी एक्सेट्रा. एंड अभी एज वी नो कोविड के बाद तो ऐसा थोड़ा 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 इन्फ्लेशन बहुत बड़ा ये हो गया, इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ गया तो लोगों ने के पास बहुत पैसा था तो फेड ने रेट बढ़ाया था शायद 2023 में. तब बड़ा के it reached a point where it was the one of the highest federal rates that was there in the market for a long. But as things improved, people were expecting a rate cut for the past few months. And it all boiled down to last week's Fed meeting, where everyone was expecting a rate cut, which was like 100% sure. But the issue was that 0.25 करेंगे कि 0.5 BPS करेंगे. And not too worried about तो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का क्राइसिस ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है तो रेट कट करने से कंपनीज विल गेट मोर मनी सो दे विल हायर मोर. एंड एज इट एंडेड अप 0.5 का कट हुआ. And Fed is taking a more aggressive approach, and there were also linked concerns like unemployment तो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गई US में, and of course across the globe. So it was a 0.5 rate cut, and 0.25 was the more expected one. In fact, I think it's good because there'll be more value in the economy in itself. एंड इस पे थे दो तीन चीजें तो डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट होता है. वन, गोल्ड. गोल्ड तो सॉर्ट ऑफ ऑल टाइम हाई इन्वेस्ट इंडिया में भी होने वाला था, बट एज वी डिस्कस इन द बजट एपिसोड बिकॉज ऑफ द कस्टम्स ड्यूटी द गोल्ड डिड नॉट रीच द हाई इट हैज टू, एंड फॉर दैट वुड हैव रीच्ड 3000 लेवल as well. दूसरा चीज इन स्टॉक मार्केट, of course when money becomes access, stock market goes up. And there are also these videos going around the internet if you have seen कि अगर रेट कट जैसे भी होता है नेक्स्ट ईयर में S&P इंडेक्स गोज टू ऑल टाइम एंड उसके बाद एक क्रैश आता है. If that comes true, probably we might be at the start of another bull run because we have already been in another bull run starting from last week up to next year according to these videos. No one knows कैसा मार्केट रिएक्ट करने वाला है तो उसके लिए देखते हैं. बट क्वेश्चन भी हम आंसर कर सकते हैं। बट एक और चीज मुझे जस्ट शॉक करा था, एवरीवन वाज वेटिंग फॉर यूएस का फेड का कट। एक और चीज टू नोट हियर इज बैंक ऑफ जापान का भी बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट है इसमें। एज इफ यू हैव सीन इन द लास्ट फ्यू वीक्स, Japan had a negative interest rate for a very long period of time, where people used to borrow money from Japan and invest in across the globe. And then there was a sudden spike where the Japan increased that, and there was a fall in the stocks. I don't remember that, probably a month back. And Bank of Japan had also its meeting last week, and they have not reduced nor increased. So, which is kind of a neutral stance. We don't know if they're going to tighten it further. So that could also have some implications in terms of global markets.
Thank you. This is good information. A follow up on that. Apart from the gold prices that you mentioned, जो India में भी impact होगा, what would be the impact on the Indian economy for the rate cut? Do you think RBI will follow suit and cut their interest rates also? And go on first with that.
First of all, right, things have been very interesting since COVID. Pre-COVID, like everybody moves together up, everybody moves together down. But after COVID, it has become like certain markets are having high inflation, certain markets are having low inflation. In fact, within India as well, there have been pockets of places where the inflation has been very, for example, food prices, etc. And there will be pockets of places where the inflation is not that much. And the other bigger impact is the where everyone used to get crude from most of the Gulf countries. But then, like US, first time in history, US has started producing more oil products than Saudi in the past couple of months. This is going to have big implication. India has also started to source a lot of its oil from Russia, even though it has not been impacted in terms of the petrol prices within India. But the base amount that India gets has gone down very low. I think probably 70 or something, which is again another implication in the market. Due to all these circumstances, right? Like how RBI is going to react, probably we are also going to have an rate. But I'm not sure if it's going to be as aggressive as the US. And in terms of the market conditions itself, this US rate cut is going to have a big impact in India in terms of money into India. So FDI is going to increase a lot, especially if you see some of our pharma sectors are a lot to US, where US firms do a lot of their R&D there, come up with formulas for medicines, and they contract stuff within India where Indian pharma companies manufacture it here. So this is one of the areas where it's going to be a lot of money going to flow in. So there are certain pockets where there's going to be like a lot of interest, lot of money coming in. That would be the implication of what US's rate cuts would have in India. In terms of RBI, I think the loan prices might come down will come down because of the rate cut. But I don't see we are in a place as bad as US where we need to reduce the rate cut as
Got it.
Yeah, and there's been some very funny things that have been happening since COVID, like Madhuri said, because I mean I'm just writing on everything that Madhuri said because he covered kind of all the points, but just bringing up more incidents. Pre-COVID, economics theories used to be followed very seriously by even the reserve banks across the world because they're basically in charge of economic policy, right? They're kind of the monetary policy of every country. But what happened during COVID, because it was such a black swan event that people weren't prepared for, US started giving out what I remember my professor taught in economics as helicopter money, which was just coming out and doling out free cash. तुम ये ले लो, तुम इस तरह लोन ले लो, तुम्हारे लोन माफ कर देंगे, which the US is still doing. They recently, till last year, were forgiving student loans, for example. So suddenly there is more money in the market than anticipated, or जब भी you have free money that comes to you, you kind of feel as any human being, I can take a higher level of risk now. And that could be in anything. And वो सारा पैसा stock market में आ रहा. Because again, a lot of things were happening at the same time. Madhvesh touched on Japan. Japan had free money for large investors. Negative interest rate मतलब तुम लोन लो उनसे तुम्हें कम पैसा वापस करना पड़ेगा. Taking loans from them, you're putting that money into different markets, US or India, wherever you're seeing growth, putting money into those markets without any consequences, able to return that money back. What about return भी बना? Same when the US, you suddenly had more money. You had crypto money also. You had different forms of money that you had. Trading became relatively cheap, which has now started in India also with different apps that allow you to do free trading or cheap trading. Uh, so suddenly people felt like they could take more risk. All of these are not generally happening at the same time. अब you are seeing divergent things happening in different markets. जापान में इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ रहा है, इंडिया में भी अभी तक till a few months back interest rate बढ़ रहा था, and the US has been waiting for this interest rate cut for over a year, where markets have been anticipating कि कभी ना कभी तो होगा, because this can't keep going. The risk that the US runs right now, which I'm hoping with Madhvesh that the markets for a while, because they've been anticipating the rate cut, but the rate cut was more than they anticipated. The market always overreacts to surprises. Right? Good surprises, they overreact by going much higher. Bad surprises, they overreact by selling everything. The day after the rate cut announcement, the markets went up. The next day, they were not that great. But there is going to be foreign flow of foreign funds flow into different markets, not just India, into multiple different markets where they are seen as cheap. India, I don't think is currently seen as that, but there are sectors, right? Banks are seen as relatively cheap right now. Pharma may get more contracts, therefore there's going to fully a move in the upward direction for some pharma company. So there will be pockets where money will flow in. But the biggest risk the US runs is abhi bhi interest rates are not interest rate. It's still just under 5.7. That the housing prices are still quite high. We've been seeing the biggest problem that's happening right now is mortgage rates have obviously gone up. किसी के पास अगर floating rate mortgage, that's the mortgage is dependent on central rate. उनका EMIs have shot up. And new houses, which people would have bought because again, that's what that pay. So I can't buy a new house. Unka sale has been going down steadily. So if there is a situation again where there's lots of inventory, but interest rates are very high, demand is not there, and then suddenly people ask the same question people asked in 2008 saying, जो loan दिए हुए हैं उनकी actual value क्या है? That is it that we are running right now. Because we've kind of gone back. The selling wasn't as aggressive as it was happening in 2008 for mortgages and then everything that happened after. But I think we haven't got all our risk. Right? That is still a risk that exists across. India, maybe we've seen property prices go up across. So again, that is another risk. So that is, again, would just keep going for the next 30 years. No one asks that question and we're all, but that is the, it's staying high if they don't climb down quickly, because then the value of the assets that we go down actually because demand goes down for those assets. And people keep investing in risky assets like stock. The other thing that the Fed has said is that interest rates cut honge dobara. This is not a one-time exercise. There is a 0.5% more expected this year itself, which in a way is good news because lower interest rates will mean people can loan more money and get us. But I still don't think it is back to the level where people want it to be ideally. Other was not gets 8%, that's not 1%. So this is my personal feeling. I don't know if the markets are ready to live with that interest rate for a longish period of time. They were kind of hoping if this thing starts earlier in the year and through the year there is interest rate cuts. We have starting to see where the markets are much higher because interest rate cutting has started. But I also feel like the expectation the markets had for a very long time was ये ज़्यादा aggressive manner में होगा, जल्दी शुरू होगा and it will continue for a while. It's now at some point if the rates meet the market expectations, they are worse than market expectations, then again the market might react back because it's not as much money in the market as they want. Those are like everything covered. Those were my thoughts as well on where I see this happening. There is a risk. One risk is housing. One risk is money still expensive. And with Japan doing what they're doing, one source of free money is kind of being cut. And markets generally everywhere like that. There is cheaper markets where people would invest. Is India one of them? I feel pockets in India are there. Yeah. One of the markets where a lot of the money will flow in, we don't know yet.
एक और चीज we need to see alongside all these points is that US elections are coming soon. So that's like adding more. There's going to be a lot of volatility. Market जब ऊपर जाएगा एकदम ऊपर जाएगा, जब नीचे आएगा एकदम नीचे आने वाला है, वो तो expected ही है. And एक और interesting thing to note, especially whenever a rate cut happens, that currency devalues. So basically, when the rate went down, US dollar has gone down. But it is not a same world as we had in 1980s or 2000. It's a multipolar world. And as these rate cuts are going to happen continuously for the next 8 months, the US is going to, USD is going to devalue. Will it again climb to heights? This thing which is interesting to look out for, because we are in a multipolar. There are different countries which are trying to take power, and all these wars are like, we thought it would be a short term war. Things are going to end soon. It'll settle soon, but the outburst has only gone higher and higher as each day passed last year. So it's going to be a volatile world out there in terms of market, in terms of everything, I suppose. So very interesting time to be.
Cool. Yeah, lot to process. Lot of information on what can happen, and hopefully this is useful to our audience. Cool. We will end this episode here. Please like, share, subscribe as always, and stay tuned for the next one.